Hi guys, welcome to another episode of If I Speak. In this episode, we'll be looking at the upcoming game between Manchester United and Liverpool. So this is a preview. Without wasting a lot of time, let's get into it. Abhinav, hi, how are you, bud?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well, man. Big game coming up, isn't it?
It's big, but I'm not looking forward to it. This is the one game that I just never look forward to because of the expectations, and then
But,
the reality of the game is just never it just never lives
but
up to
then
it. I feel.
shouldn't you? We've got a midweek fixture, but you haven't. You'll have a week off, and then we have a semi-final to focus on,
I
wherein
can
you
tell you're
could
already
take
using
the
that as your
opportunity.
excuse. That's your
Yeah,
excuse, isn't it? You have
yeah,
it ready.
it is
Fitness.
already. Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I I do feel that we're going to lose this game for some reason. Anyway, we'll get into it. So, looking at Liverpool's season, you haven't been performing very well, defending champions, but nobody thought that you'll not be in the top four until now. And the position you are at, it's getting more and more difficult for you to get into the top four. And with
Yeah.
not a lot of games left, there are only a few opportunities left to get those 3 points and a massive opportunity against Manchester United. So, how do you feel will this game go? And looking forward, do you think you'll be able to get top four?
Uh, oof. This game, I'm not really. We're walking into this game with really poor form. So, I think we were top at one point in the league this last year in December, and then it just all went downhill from that. So I think from there, it's 21 points from 17 games, which is just shocking. That's relegation form, and I can't imagine what it's like if we didn't have Salah scoring goals. I don't know where we'd be at this position. I think I remember saying earlier that the Real Madrid game was a good indicator of where we're at because the season's been up and down. Lots of things have been happening. We don't really know like what position we're at, and it was a big reality check that Madrid game just because they just showed the certain players that didn't want to like who didn't feel like it just looked like some of the players didn't care. And it really showed like where we're at, and we're not in a good position now. We're in really bad form. I thought before this, like we had Leeds, Newcastle, those, and then the United game. So I thought we would get some momentum for the United game and be ready, but we dropped points like we usually do against the small clubs. And then yeah, so and we after the United game we have some easy games as well. The United game I just don't know. I'm just a bit uncertain about which Liverpool turn up. I think it's up to Klopp to try and kind of raise them, but a lot of it is on the players' shoulders because they've not told up. Like only Klopp can only do so much. He sets up the basically the perfect lineup for the Newcastle game, and for 60 minutes we were brilliant. We were like closing them off. We weren't giving them any chances. We created 8 or 7 chances, so we should have won that game easily. And
With the
then
framework multiple times.
yeah, we just pinned them back. They couldn't do anything basically, and I just and then obviously it was like I was on the group chat messaging, oh, it should be 7 or 8 nil. But then right after I said, oh, this is just gonna be a 1-1, isn't it? And then that happens exactly. And then we were bailed out by VAR. But then yeah, I think the running theme in our season is we do well. We look promising for 60 minutes, and then we drop off, and then it's just like our heads are gone. No one seems to be bothered. There doesn't seem to be any motivation. So I feel like that's what's going to happen in the United game as well.
But then can't you see that also being a reason because of the fans not being in the ground? Because a player can only play for like 50, 60 minutes, and in order to push them through the 90 minutes,
Yeah,
we need fans. And then this season, it has been a story with every team apart from City. They have had moments of brilliance, but then every team has been performing poorly in the final stages. United are completely opposite. We don't start well. We play utter
yeah.
disastrous football for 30 minutes, but for the last 60 minutes we blow teams away. So in those terms, do you think that you guys are missing fans? And if the fans were in the grounds, the story of the season would have been completely different.
Yeah, that's a big factor, I guess. But everyone else has fans, and it doesn't have fans, so it's not something we can just excuse and say, "Oh, we'll write off this season because there's no fans." Because these are professional footballers; they're paid to do this. They can't not know how to kick a ball. Like Mane misplacing a pass, misplacing a shot. That's not because of the fans. That's because he's low in confidence. He can't seem to kick a ball at the moment. So,
But then the fans could give him that confidence by cheering him on.
Yeah, that's true. That'd motivate him. Because he is one of those players, like, every once in a while you have those flair players which they entice the crowd, they make the game exciting. So Mane may be one of those players where he gets the crowd going, he takes on a player, and then he starts playing well. But it's difficult. Like we can't change our circumstances. So we can only work on what we have now. That's just an empty stadium, the coaching staff, the mentality of the players, and it just doesn't. Collectively, I think everyone has a part to blame in this.
All right. That's just been everybody's season. And I don't understand how United have been in a situation where they are second in the league, because other teams have been performing poorly, and that is the reason that we are in second. But just looking at how City have performed, they have been faultless this season. The only time that I think that they haven't performed the way that I expected them to was the United game in the league and the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. So looking at other teams, Chelsea have a new manager now. They have Tuchel. They're pushing for a top four finish, and Leicester have a solid spot in the top four. They have had it for the past 3 or 4 years, where they've only missed out a couple times. And Liverpool, being traditionally one of the biggest teams in England, Liverpool and United, the two biggest teams in England, and one of them is sitting second, the other one defending champions, not in the top four. So it's just bad for English football, isn't it?
Do you think it's a tactical thing as well? Like, if you take away the fans and the motivation from that, do you think the teams that are more like tactically better kind of shine through? It's like if you Pep, you associate with him with like all the tactics, how good he is in his in-game management. Do you think that this is like once the fans are gone, there's more emphasis on the quality of the players you have? So with City, they have a big bench, big like squad, and a great coach, so that shines through more. Like with Liverpool, I feel like we have a great coach and we have great players, but also there's no denying that there were games last season we were 1-1 until the 90th minute at least like 7 times, and then we were pulled through by basically the crowd. You think that's a factor?
I don't know. I think that Pep is a great tactician and far better than Oli, and a little better than Klopp in terms of just pure tactics. But I don't think that if he had the United squad or if he had the Liverpool squad with the injuries that you've had this season, he would be able to get that team to a level where City are this season. So it's just the squad that City have. They've managed to accumulate over the years, over the past 3 or 4 years since Pep has been there. He's handpicked players and got them. So it's just not like it's all down to Pep, or they're not being fans and only down to tactics, because we saw that if we were talking about the 2009 Barcelona team where Pep was their manager, but then he had Xavi and Iniesta, and they literally ran the midfield. Even if you took out Messi from that team would have been doing exactly the same. Probably not the same numbers, because Messi got 40, 50 goals a season. But apart from that, that team would still be dominating games in terms of possession, in terms of chances created. But as soon as he's lost those two players, he's lost Messi, he's lost Iniesta and Xavi, as soon as he moved to Bayern, Pep seems to have lost an edge. He hasn't won the Champions League. He might do it this season, but he's not won the Champions League. And it's so easy to win the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. And with the squad that he's been able to accumulate with City, it's been easy for him in the Premier League. So I wouldn't put it down to tactics. I would just say that Pep has been in a very fortunate situation, which Liverpool haven't or United haven't. Liverpool have been rebuilding for the past 4 years under Klopp, 5 years under Klopp, and they managed to gain success. But the injuries that you faced this season happened to nobody else. You lost your main defender. Virgil van Dijk alone could probably save you 10 goals a season or 12 goals a season. And losing him, you had to play Fabinho and Henderson at centre back. I've seen when we had to play Michael Carrick at centre back. I've seen when we sometimes played Fellaini at centre back. So nobody wants to be in that situation. And no matter what kind of tactics the manager applies on the pitch, the players need to be trained for that, playing playing in that position itself.
Yeah.
So even if Klopp has given the right instructions to Fabinho, to Henderson, while they're playing at centre back, but they can't have a central defender's brain like a Virgil van Dijk. So it's all
Yeah.
down to, I would say, the crisis that the other teams have been in and not Pep.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like you were talking about like Liverpool in a 4 year, like we've been building towards the position. Like where do you think you are right now in terms of your like building?
I don't know. I mean, I'm really happy with Oli, and I don't know why people are Oli out, but I can see
Yeah.
that he can be naive at some points, wherein because he's learning on the job. He is not somebody who's a well-trained coach or a top coach and hasn't been for the past 6 or 7 years. The only history he has is getting Cardiff relegated, and then
Yeah.
he's gone to Molde. Molde hadn't won their league for a very long time, and he was the main reason that Molde won the league
Yeah.
in Norway. So those tactics can probably work in Norway. Those haven't worked out well in England, I suppose say, but I do trust in him because if we see he's beaten Tuchel, beaten Tuchel, he's beaten Pep, he's beaten Klopp, he's beaten all the top managers, and he's been building the United squad as per his liking. I just don't trust the Glazers enough to call a situation where I would say that in a year I would see us challenging for the titles, or 2 years I would see challenging us for the titles because we can see that a top player like Paul Pogba wants to leave, and
Mm.
3 years down the line, if we don't build a squad, Bruno would want to leave. Marcus Rashford, he's a Man United fan. He was born and brought through the academy, and he's grown up in Manchester. But I don't think that if he's 27, 28, United haven't won a lot, United aren't challenging. I don't
Yeah.
think that he'll want to stick around as well. So it's not down to the manager or the players. It's down to the board, and I don't trust them. So I can't say that we are where we are in the phase of rebuilding. But if Oli is given the right tools, I think that he'll be able to probably not win us the Premier League, but
Repeat.
get us close to it, very close to
Yeah.
it. We saw that we were top of the league for a long period this season, and we haven't been in that situation for the past 7 years. We were top of the league under Mourinho, but that was only for the first 3 games of the season. So
Yeah.
so down like Tottenham were at the beginning of this season. So midway through the season, we haven't been top of the league for the past 7 years, and Oli was able to achieve that. And that wasn't anybody's fault. No other team was at fault, or no other team was underperforming. Every team was underperforming, but then United were brilliant that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So he deserved that. He deserved that spot. He deserved to take United to that spot. And if given the right summer, if given the right transfers, I think that he can get us very
Yeah.
close to a Premier League title.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you get like a player that takes you to the next level, someone like a Sancho or even a Declan Rice in midfield, just to shore up that midfield as well, I feel like you could go pretty far.
I don't know why I think that this is not the time to bring in one major signing. I think that we need a centre back, a CDM, and a right winger.
to spread it,
So
yeah.
don't go out and spend 120 million on Sancho. Probably buy two players worth 60 million in that, a centre back and a CDM, or probably a player like Adama Traore. Even though he's been not performing great this season, but we can see that he is somebody who is waiting to reach that next level, and United could be a club for him. We haven't been linked to him or anything, but I appreciate
Yeah.
him, and I think that we can get him for 40, 50, or 60 million, and
Yeah.
Wolves wouldn't ask for more money than that. So is it worth investing 120 million in a Sancho? Because we are lacking in two or three positions. It's not just one position. If it was just the right wing that we were lacking, I would accept us spending 120 million on a Sancho,
Yeah.
but would I want to spend 120 million on Sancho in this situation? Absolutely not. But the
Yeah.
Glazers definitely, I can definitely see that the Glazers do it this summer.
I
Not
can
with
see where you're
Sancho,
coming from, though. Yeah. Because when you buy a big player, the assumption is that you have to build a team around them, and then that can kind of hamper everyone else around the team. So if you look at Juve, they bought Ronaldo, a big game player. They were all right at the beginning, but then slowly they became a bit more dependent on him, and the team around him started losing quality. So I think I agree. Like what we did was in that summer where we went to the next level was buy a centre back, buy a goalkeeper, and buy a central defensive midfielder basically, and that it's like building like a really strong backbone for the future is what we did. So I think if you can do something similar to that, that would be good for your
Exactly.
your team.
And when you went out and spent 75 million on Virgil van Dijk, you had a very functional squad. You were just missing that piece. You
Yeah,
probably need a defensive midfielder and a goalkeeper, but then you could have done without a goalkeeper also. That was just
yeah,
the cherry on the topping. But Virgil van Dijk brought that dynamism to the team, which
yeah,
I think that you were lacking at that point, and that took you to the next level. But with United, what I see is even if we go out and buy Erling Haaland or a Harry Kane or a Jadon Sancho, they won't be able to take us to the next level all by themselves. We need
yeah.
2 or 3 signings.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, at the beginning of that 2017-18 season, I think we started with a backline of Mignolet, Moreno, Matip, Lovren, and Klein. We didn't even have like Trent and Robertson into the team, so it's more than just one player. It's just good recruitment that you need to do. I don't know if like how you rate your recruitment over the past few years, though. Like, do you trust your scouting team to get the job done?
I do. I've loved every transfer that Oli has brought in, but then he has been handed players that he didn't want also, just like Cavani. He didn't want Cavani. Cavani has been great this season, but Oli didn't want him. But in the first season, he bought Dan James, he bought Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and he bought Harry Maguire. All three
Yeah,
have been great for us. Harry Maguire, no matter how much fun we make of him, even I enjoy making fun of him, but
yeah,
he has been a rock. He's started more than 100 games for United in the past 2 years, and Eric Bailly, who has been with United for 4.5 seasons, hasn't got to 100 appearances or just managed to get to 100.
yeah. He's played
So
everything. Yeah,
Harry Maguire hasn't missed games. Same with later on when he brought in Bruno Fernandes in the winter. We can see that what kind of performances Bruno has put in. And then in this summer, in last summer, uh, we bought we brought in who was it? Amad Diallo, but then he came in
yeah,
January. We spent on him, but he came in January. We bought a youngster called Facundo Pellistri, who's on loan now because he wasn't probably fitting in the English game. And we bought
yeah,
Donny van de Beek in. Donny van de Beek, I think that Oli has a plan for him. I don't know why that even if he hasn't started a lot this season, I think that Oli is taking his time to integrate Donny into this team, and
yeah,
we'll see a completely different Donny next season.
yeah,
And what happened on the last day of the transfer window was that Borussia Dortmund didn't budge on the Jadon Sancho price, and
yeah,
United just went to Ole and they were like, we can't get Sancho for you, but would you like Cavani because he'll sell a lot of shirts. So Ole was like,
yeah,
all right, I'll take Cavani, and that's what they did. So I'm very happy with Ole's recruitment. It's just like I say time and again, I don't trust the Glazers. So even
mm,
though Ole would have a lot of targets this season, this summer, I don't think that the Glazers will be able to go get them and for the right price.
yeah, yeah. I can see that as well. Like as for the game, like how do you think it's going to play out?
For the game, I have a funny feeling that we'll lose the game. United will lose the game, and you can say that I'm getting my excuse in early, but then I don't know why that just because you've got a semi-final coming up against Roma and it's over 2 legs. So I don't think that even if we manage to win the first leg tonight,
Yeah,
uh, we'll somehow loosen up for the second game because Oli does not want to lose another semi-final. And
yeah. Are you saying it's one or the other, like that they'll focus on? Yeah,
what I think is that Oli wouldn't want to lose the Liverpool game, but he'll definitely want to win the Roma tie and go to a final, take his team to a
yeah,
final. So I can see a situation where he starts a very strong team against Liverpool, but it's more of a damage limitation kind of tactics. The tactics are
Yeah, like a pragmatic approach, just
yeah,
trying to see out the game.
just
Yeah.
just see out the game, counter-attacking football. Don't waste a lot of energy. Don't try to get injured. That kind of a situation, and the kind of position that Liverpool are in right now, I think that they'll come out wanting the 3 points just because they want that top four spot. And even though Klopp has said that it doesn't matter if his team is in the Champions League or the Europa League, his team goes wants to win every game and would
Yeah.
play similar kind of football. But I think that deep down he still wants that fourth place, and he knows that it isn't out of reach. So he'll come in the game, he'll want to win the game, and I just think that Liverpool will edge United out.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more for us to play for. So in that sense, I agree that I think United will take a pragmatic approach while we basically not capitalized in the previous game. So we have to go at this game with looking for 3 points rather than use. But the thing is with Klopp, if I look at his press conferences before United games, his mentality has always been, oh, it's a tough game. It'll be good to take a point, basically. But I think for this game, we have to change that if we want top four. Because if you look at the other teams, like I think Chelsea have a run of Leicester, United, and some other. I can't remember.
We
Some
don't
other
have
difficult.
Chelsea anymore. We are not facing
Yeah,
Chelsea.
I think but I think they have a pretty difficult like run in towards the end of the season. Maybe Tottenham, I can't remember. Leicester, the same as well. After these next two fixtures, they have some pretty tough ones as well. So this is the perfect time to capitalize. But I just it's just purely on. It's not actually. I wouldn't say it's on the players. Because Klopp has made a few mistakes as well.
Right.
So because like last game, to see off the game, I don't see why we had to take Thiago off. We were controlling the game at that point. And putting on Milner basically means that we lose control of midfield, and that's exactly what happened. And I can't believe like Klopp didn't see that coming. He's been a bit suspect with those sort of decisions in the season. So I think the players need to. I don't know if it's the players, because whatever team like line that we play, they always seem to underperform. So we'll be proper motivated for this game, and I think I don't know. That's the thing. Like I'm saying this all out now, and I'm just thinking like, how are we going to get a result now? I think ideally I would like a 4-2-3-1 because that's where we create the most chances against Newcastle. But I think that's more suited to a low block when we're struggling to break down teams. I think Klopp will probably play his favorite players in this game, so a 4-3-3, and that's why I don't see us getting a result in this game, just because Klopp can be stubborn sometimes and make decisions just out of what he feels most comfortable in doing. And if he does that, I think it'll just be one of those games where we get a draw, and if Chelsea or Leicester win their game, then it just makes it very, very difficult to make top four. Other than that, like if the players aren't performing, it doesn't help when the manager's not performing either. So if he's not making the right decisions, so I just don't see a scenario where we come out like 2-0, 3-0. If anything, it's just going to be a really close game, and maybe we scrape it. Yeah, that's what I think.
So since we've talked about the games, I'll just go and flash the Liverpool predicted 11 that you made. So
Yeah.
you can probably talk us through the team. Can you see it?
Yeah. I think I'll start from goalkeeper. So I think obviously Alisson has to start just because of the options we have. Like I'm not starting Adrian in any game, no matter how small it is. He's picked up form recently, so we'll put him back in.
He's lost that beard though, hasn't he?
He's lost that beard, yeah. He's trimmed it now, and he's got stubble now though, so maybe the form will come back with the beard, hopefully. Because I remember last year I think he kept growing his hair until we lost the game, and then the Watford game we lost, and then he basically cut it all off. So I think he's doing that this year. But the thing is, we're losing every week, so he keeps having to shave his beard off. That's what's been happening. Yeah. So I think fullbacks will stay the same. Kabak has to play. The problem with our defenders is we have no other choice to play the players I've put up forward. The only place where maybe there might be a bit of doubt is the right centre back, whether it's Fabinho or whether it's Phillips.
Right.
I think just because of how important Fabinho is in midfield and the way we play when he is in midfield, we have to play him there. He sweeps up so much. He makes the job for the defender so much easier. So in that case, I'd rather play Phillips if fit. If not fit, then I don't think we should play Reece Williams in defence, because we saw what happened last time we played him. The midfield too. Although I criticise Wijnaldum, he's Klopp's favourite, so I just don't see him dropping him in these sort of games. But at the same time, Klopp's treatment of Keita has been pretty poor, and he tends to, if Keita has a bad game, for example, the Real Madrid game, he'll throw him in the deep end against in another game and see how he fares, and then he drops him for another 2 games. So this is the kind of game where Keita might be thrown in just as a surprise, but I'd rather just work with this midfield, because it is a pretty decent midfield. I feel it's just been underperforming. Thiago, I think when we took him off against Newcastle, we could just see the drop in that, like, we didn't have any control of the midfield. Obviously he's not getting goals or assists, but he's slowly growing into the Liverpool side, I feel. But still not up to the expectations, I think. But the front three, once again, Klopp has his favourite, so I think it's going to be Mane, Firmino, Salah, and maybe Jota off the bench to make an impact. I think with Klopp, he's not very proactive, so he'll play this lineup and then just see if he needs to make a change in the 70th minute and then bring on Jota. But if I could choose my own lineup that I wanted rather than the one I'm predicting, I would maybe put Jota in instead of Mane, actually, maybe, because I remember us playing what was it, Mane, Jota, and Salah together, and they just didn't connect well. They just didn't link up, so I don't think that's an option.
Right. Or I don't know why I think that Firmino is the glue that brings the whole team together in attack for you, and as soon as you lose out on Firmino, the whole attack goes to bench.
That's why I chose Mane as well, because we can see, like, in the Newcastle game, when he was dropping back, he was creating quite a lot of chances. That's the thing, though. It's a real shame, because Firmino is so important to us, but when we play him as striker, he misses so many chances. So we kind of have to come to a compromise in that sense, where we keep Firmino just because the entire attack works along with him, or if we drop him, and then the entire attack is just it's very limited, I'd say.
Right.
That's why I think the lineup.
All right. So, I mean, you've had a lot of injuries this season, and you still are facing most of them. I think Van Dijk is still injured. He will be out until the end of the season. Gomez is injured. Henderson is injured. So if you could bring back one player from all of those, who do you think that would fit into this lineup and guarantee you a top 4 spot?
I have to say Van Dijk. I just think that that right centre-back spot, if we can get Kabak and Van Dijk, I wouldn't have many issues with the defence. And I think it will have like a knock-on effect on the midfield and attack, whereas then they'll be confident enough that they have a defender at the back. Assuming we're like, is this Van Dijk before he was injured, or the one where we don't know if he's like fit?
I don't know. I mean, the reason that I think that Trent has also lost form this season is because Van Dijk has been injured. Because earlier he had the assurance of Van Dijk behind him. He could attack freely. He could just roam around that right channel. And now that he doesn't have that assurance anymore, I feel like that he's a little hesitant in attack. And then just because he's not very good defensively, he still is a top right back. But we all know that his attacking qualities are way better than his defensive qualities. So we can see that having that doubt in mind is not just hampering his form. And I don't know why I think that as soon as Van Dijk comes into your team again, Trent has that channel all to himself again. We'll see that Liverpool creating a lot of chances, Liverpool scoring a lot of chances.
I think we need Gomez back actually as well, because Gomez is usually on the right hand side with Trent. although Van Dijk, he makes everyone around him calm. I think with Trent, you need someone who's quite quick at the back. Just for someone to be there just in case he makes a mistake. Someone quick I think that's why we actually bought Konate, because he can play on the right hand side. He's quick, so he can fill in for when Gomez is injured or when he's injured. Because I don't know if he has a good injury record either. So yeah, I'll take Van Dijk definitely.
I think United, Gomez has performed good against United in the past. I remember one game, I guess it was at Old Trafford under Mourinho, where Rashford scored 2 goals. Where Rashford scored 2 goals and Trent was just coming up that season, and you had Matip at right back, Van Dijk at left back, and Matip at right back, if I'm correct. And Rashford just turned Trent twice, and we could see that Trent was trying very hard, but he just didn't have the confidence of a solid defender behind him, and he couldn't attack freely, and then very nervous in defense. So I get your point, but you just have one choice, so it's Van Dijk, isn't it?
It's Van Dijk, yeah, definitely, yeah. Because then I can just play Kabak on the right, I guess. So.
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll probably just bring up the United lineup and try to share that if that happens. My predicted 11. Let's try and share it. Awesome. Can you see it?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So now that we know that Henderson is the league goalkeeper, I think that he'll start. De Gea will start against Roma, both games, but Henderson will start in the Premier League, and we'll have our back four, the normal back four we've had all season, without any changes to it, unless Lindelof or Maguire pick up an injury tonight, which I don't think they will. And just like I said, that Oli will take a pragmatic approach to this game. So I think that he's going to start McTominay and Fred both in defensive midfield. So that will leave no spot for Paul Pogba in the team. But just because Pogba is a top quality player, I think that Oli will start him on the left wing like Pogba did against Tottenham and performed brilliantly. Fernandes has his spot on. He won't be moved. He'll start a game. He'll perform week in, week out. There are only a few games where he hasn't performed. And it pains me to say that Greenwood won't start this game, because I love Greenwood and I want Greenwood to start every game. But I also understand the fact that he's 19 years old. He's young, coming up against experienced Liverpool side. You don't want to burn him out. You don't want to put too much pressure on him. And Cavani is just the man of the moment. Every time he comes on for United or every time he starts for United, he seems to have a goal in him. And even though the last time against Liverpool in the FA Cup game, he didn't score a goal, but he hit the post, if you remember, from a header. So I think that Cavani is just a dynamic striker who can get in behind the defense, poach goals, tap in those balls across the 6-yard box, head in goals. So I think that Cavani will start this game, and Rashford is Oli's favorite player. Even when Oli wasn't United manager, Rashford was always his favorite player. So Rashford will start, and that's going to be the lineup for United, according to me.
Yeah, I think with Cavani, he's like a creative player's dream, in the sense that he's always making those movements that you want him to make. So he'll always be in the right place at the right time. I've also been really impressed with what's his name, Shaw. I thought he's taken on like a big step this season. Do you think it's largely due to like the competition he has, or like with Tejas, or it's just one of those things where
I think it's more on Oli than it is on the competition that he has. Even though Oli was there last season and Luke Shaw didn't perform very well last season, but it took him a season to grow into the role of being the number one left back, of believing that Oli trusts him. And we've seen this season that even though Telles has come in, and Telles probably not a world-class left back, he is one of the top left backs in Europe. and he hasn't been able to even play 5 or 10 games because of Luke Shaw,
Yeah.
just because of how Luke Shaw has been performing. So it's more about the confidence that Luke Shaw has, and all of that is down to Ollie, the kind of trust he's put in him and made
Yeah.
sure that he's just given Luke Shaw the surety of having that left back spot. And we've seen with uh, the United teams of past under Sir Alex Ferguson, we saw that Evra was that kind of fullback wherein he used to attack a lot and defend also. It's not only about attacking. So Ollie, learning from Sir Alex Ferguson, I think that has transformed Luke Shaw into a player where he has been putting up these numbers. And I think that Aaron Wan-Bissaka would do the same, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka lacks those attacking qualities. He doesn't have a cross on him, and
Yeah.
he can't. His ball control isn't as good as Luke Shaw, so
Do you
he
think he'll
can't
develop
dribble.
that though? Or
I
is
think
that
that he can probably develop the crossing, but I don't think that he can develop the ball control that Luke Shaw has,
yeah.
because Luke Shaw can dribble past a couple players, but I don't think that Aaron Wan-Bissaka can. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka has tackling like no other defender in the league. Even central defenders don't have tackles in them like Wan-Bissaka. So Luke Shaw lacks that. So it's just been working out for United at points where if we are attacking down the right, we have Greenwood. Even though he's a striker, he's learned a lot this season, and he has been able to perform on that right
Yeah.
hand side. And on the left hand side, just because Rashford cuts in, Rashford comes in the middle, it has given Luke Shaw the freedom to attack in that on that
In that
channel.
area.
So
Yeah.
it's just brilliantly worked out in United's hand this season, and it's just about building on this in the
Yeah.
summer,
Yeah.
bringing in the right players this summer, and probably win something next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think you
Yeah,
have a good core squad, so you just have to build on that now. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know why I still think that we are way behind City at the moment in terms of the squad depth. Because even if
Yeah.
we buy 3 world-class players, we still won't have 7 world-class players on the bench. So that's
Yeah. I
going to
think the
be
only
the
one close to them in terms of squad depth is if you look at Chelsea, they have like 2 wing
yeah.
backs, 2 right wing backs, a lot of centre backs, and attackers as well. But then there's the other thing where they spent that money, so they have to have that sort of depth. Yeah.
They did spend that money, but they also have a really good youth academy, youth products coming through. So
Yeah.
Callum
Definitely.
Hudson-Odoi has come through, and Mason Mount has come through, and we can see how good Mason Mount has done this season. So it's not about just spending money. And I don't know why I think that Tuchel, even though he's had a great, he's picked up on a great Chelsea side, he could also do a lot better if he's given the summer that he wants. So
Yeah, like a
it,
proper preseason.
yeah,
Because I don't even think that the way Chelsea are playing now is the style of play that Tuchel wants them to play. I think he's came in to get results and he's doing exactly that. But I think once he gets a proper preseason, we'll see like the best version of them. That's what I think. Yeah.
right. So before we wrap this up, what are your score predictions?
1-0 to us.
1-0.
I said the opposite the entire podcast, but I'll just be optimistic and say, yeah, we'll scrape it. You've persuaded me now.
Yeah, even I'll stick with the same 1-0 to Liverpool, and I've given my reasons. I've put in my excuses early. I
Yeah,
put in early excuses, right? So
yeah,
that wraps up the Liverpool versus United preview. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video and follow us on Instagram because we are quite active on there. And follow us on Twitter as well. But you should probably just put in the comments. Abhinav is not very active. He is the handler of our Twitter account. He needs to be more active. And that's about it. See you guys next time.